Folks, welcome into the Closing Line, October 5th, presented by SportsbookReview.com. Be your host today, Donnie Rightside. Some Major League Baseball in play today. In just a few moments, our esteemed guest, Teddy Covers, will also be joining us to go over the latest in NCAA football, NFL football, Major League Baseball, and also from a Vegas perspective here. Obviously, a major tragedy here in the United States that did take place in Vegas. Teddy, close to home here with us with the SportsbookReview.com. Obviously, you know, following him for years, he is a Vegas local, a Vegas resident. So it will be really interesting to see his point of view and perspective on how the city's recovering because, hey, you know, we're all gamblers out here. Las Vegas, when it hits that, it hits the heart of every gambler's out there, the love for Las Vegas. Most of us have been there multiple times throughout the years, and a lot of people watching the chat in and around Vegas, making trips there regularly. So definitely a heartfelt, you know, situation that we're going to go over in just a few moments. Major League Baseball here on the docket so far today. A quick winner if you had the over-under in the first 5 innings. I believe it closed at 3.5, 4-2. I believe heading into the bottom of the fifth. I can't see my monitor right now, but one would think in the playoffs here, overs in all 3 baseball games so far. This one hasn't cleared the hurdle of 7, but looks like it is on its way in. And Teddy, I just want to bring you in here. You know, Teddy Covers, follow him at Teddy_Covers. You've seen him do many things, sports bit, prominent around the channels here. Teddy, welcome into the show tonight, buddy.
Donnie, what's a good word, my friend?
Hey.
Exactly. Over first half.
Overs, absolutely. No, it's been interesting here, Teddy. Before we actually start to break down these baseball games, go over NCAA football, NFL football, you know, let's take a couple minutes because, again, you're, you know, right on the ground there in Las Vegas, heartbeat of the city, obviously going in and out of the Strip. It happened right there on Sunday night. I woke up Monday morning just in disbelief, not only at the amount of people that were, for better words, assassinated in that, the amount of people injured, and just an amazing event that happened, a complete tragedy in Las Vegas. Teddy, first of all, how is you know, Las Vegas recovering at this point? And maybe you want to take us step by step on what the city's doing, and certainly from the time that you heard about it, because you're right there on the ground with them.
All I can do is tell personal stories, you know, and I got 100 of them. You know, that's the sad thing about it is that I'm not supposed to have this many stories off a freaking, you know, the cops were there in 12 minutes. You understand? 12 minutes didn't take them long. They were, you know, they identified the room. And a dude was able to put together pretty serious carnage. You know, they didn't bust the door in 12 minutes because they didn't have to because he stopped shooting after 11. But they were there in 12, and I'm super proud. One thing that's happened that I don't know that I've ever seen before in Las Vegas is the community's come together like I've never freaking seen. Not even close. You know, Vegas is a lot of not necessarily transients, but not as many people grew up here. It's not like Philly, you know, it's not like New York or Boston. Everyone grew up there, you know. Vegas, everyone moves here. So you don't have that connection. You don't have the neighborhoods that are established for, you know everybody and everyone knows the kids and all of that. It's not like that. And this week has felt more like that than at any other time, where everyone's reaching out to each other and caring about it. But I'll tell you what, I was, you know, Sunday night, I made the mistake. And I got to call it a mistake. You know, I left the game. You know, I was watching the Sunday night game, and then I was doing my work. You know, like I always do. I had the TV on mute, and I was just reaching up to turn TV off, and the news was on, and they said live shooter on Strip, and I turned the volume up. You know, and it's Sunday night. You know what it's like Sunday night. You got to freaking work. You got 100 things to do. And I was just, you know, it was 11 o'clock, and I was just finishing up. I was going to go downstairs, have something to eat, and as soon as I saw the story, I'm hooked in. You know, I'm hooked. You know, obviously, how can you not be? You see what the fuck is going on, and you're freaked out. So I watched the news for about maybe 10, 15 minutes. It's the same thing over and over again. This is 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And the news didn't tell me anything. So I go to Twitter, you know, bad idea. Yeah. Bad idea. But Twitter's what's going on, you know? So the first thing that happens is I see the video, you know, the video is posted right up, and I see what's going on. And I'll tell you what, Donnie, I freaked pardon my language, I freaked the fuck out. Yeah. I never seen anything like that. Not in my town. I know that, you know, I've been there. I know that venue. I know that, you know, I watched the video and I was shaking. Okay. In a way that I probably haven't felt. The only thing I can compare it to is 9/11. That's the last time that I can remember feeling that way internally. I was freaking shaking. And you know me, I don't drink. You know, I mean, I don't drink. You know, if I want to get a buzz on, I'll burn. I'm not going to drink. Mm-hmm. I found there was some booze left over. I had a barbecue. You know, I always have the barbecue every year. There was a bottle, and I swear to you, I filled in a fat glass. Just I filled it with ice. I couldn't, you know, it was rocks. But I chugged that, dude. And I poured another one and chugged half the second one before I could even like function, you know. And then I'm like, go to my wife, Kara. Well, look what's going on. So we're following it on Twitter, and it's craziness, dude. They're like, so first, you know, I'm following reputable accounts. You know, people that I know. I got a bunch of accounts that I follow in Vegas. I'm following a nurse and it's just horrible. Just everything is just horrible. But the worst of it is that they're like, people that I trust is like, no, there's a shooter at the MGM for sure. There's bloody people all over the MGM. You know, Trop's on lockdown. Bellagio, they just shut Bellagio down. You know, it's like not, there are multiple shooters. You know, there was an inordinate amount of disinformation, which was panics. You know, you're freaking out. So here I am, I'm at home. It's 11:30 at night. I'm drunk now. I mean, you know, it doesn't take me much. Sure. You know, what am I going to do? I'm not going to go down there. I'm not. I wish I was the kind of guy that would go into that kind of whatever. I don't wish I was. I'm not that kind of guy. If I'm there, it's a different story. You know, I like to think I'm the kind of guy that if I'm there, I'm going to be helping people and not running away. Maybe that's the truth. Maybe it's not. But I like to think that. You know, you don't know how you're going to react in that kind of situation. You know, I'm not a Marine. I've never been in combat. I don't know. But I think I'd like to be that. But in this situation, I'm not going to do anything. What can I do? I can provide information. So I'm on Twitter. I'm retweeting stuff and just drinking and retweeting and drinking and retweeting. And it's, you know, just following it. And then finally the Metro comes out and says the shooter's caught. You know, we got the shooter. It's one shooter. It's done. And you relax a little bit, but you know, it's just getting worse. At that time, it's 2 dead, 24 wounded. Did you see the video? Mm-hmm. You know,
I've seen
2 dead, 24
everyone,
wounded, bro. It's, you know, it's, so, you know, it's going to get worse. I finally passed. My wife had to leave at 4:30 in the morning. She had a flight to LA. They closed the airport. She didn't know if she was going to go, whatever. I'm like, get out of town. If you can, get out of town. So she wait, you know, I finally pass out. It's like 3:30. I was after 3. And she wakes me up at 4:30. And now the phone's buzzing from people back east. They're like, you know, and they're like, hey, you okay? So basically I like slept for about like an hour drunk, you know, and then goes in, you know, and went into Monday, you know, and a little bit shell shocked for sure. And Monday, the city came together like I never saw, you know, really everyone kind of, and it's been that way ever since, you know, but it was Sunday night was rough, man. It's not a lot of emotional experiences like that you have in your adult life. And you're a little bit shaken. And then, you know, I mean, what do we got? We got my wife. Okay. My wife's she sells product to salons on the Strip. You know, she does high-end product. She knows 7 freaking people that were in the hospital. One of them dead, you know. So one of them got trampled, something got shrapnel. 7 freaking people, dude. My wife knows. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people, but I don't know. My kid's little league team. You know, I'm not going to tell Isaac about this. You know, it's Isaac. If something comes up, Isaac, something happened on the Strip. I'm not going to. You know, he's 6. He's first grade. So the kid's one of the kids' mom's sister. She's at every game. I think they like live next door. She's in her life every day. But he got killed. You know, now we're talking to Isaac about it, and now it's, you know, now there's fears where there shouldn't be fears and all that kind of thing. So that's my story. That's everything. You know, I guess, was I rambling? Was that long?
No. I mean, I
kind of had to get it off my chest. Yeah. I hope you don't mind listening. That's my personal. You know, that's what happened.
No, coming from Vegas. And I mean, the thing I worry about now is how that, you know, everything always has a check and a checkmate. Because now when you never really realized when you go to Vegas, you walk the Strip, you look up the towers of casinos. Never in a million years would somebody be such a sick individual that would actually think of a perfect plot like that, knock out windows and have an arsenal just to shoot down and nobody knows where it's coming from and get away with, you know, hundreds and hundreds of rounds over 10 minutes. Like, you know, close to the shore for us, you know, casino town, Atlantic City. What's the stop? You know, there's multiple towers down there. They have huge beach concerts every single summer, Teddy, where the beach is packed with 30, 40, 50,000 people. And it'd be very easy for somebody to do something nonsensical like that. Now, when I never even would have thought about it, now it just brings like, hey, you know, you're in a big congregation somewhere. There's big buildings around. That's going to be on everybody's mind of how easy it is to be done. That's the scary part about it.
Sure. The copycat element. You know? Yep. I don't disagree with it. There's a lot of scary parts of it. You know, this is the scariest part. There's no solution. All right. You know, I own multiple guns. I got multiple guns in this house. I'm a gambler. I don't feel, I lived in Michigan many years. I'm a pro-gun guy. All right. But I can't wipe out a freaking town, dude. I mean, like, there's no, and that's problem is not going to get solved because we've already in the country, there are, way more guns than people. If you're, first of all, this guy's smart. Don't think, everyone's, this guy's deranged. This guy's deranged. None of us know what this guy was thinking. All right. None of us. The people closest to him don't know what he was thinking. We don't know. This guy was smart. He wasn't a freaking ass clown. He was smart. All right. So the point is that these guns aren't coming off the street. The big guns aren't coming off the street. They're out there already. And if someone is smart, they're going to be able to find one or many and do whatever the hell they want with it. It's not a solvable problem. Out of my cold dead hands, the U.S. government, we passed a law tomorrow. No more of these. Great. No more of these. There's still however many out there. And, it's not a problem that's going to get solved. So I'm pro-gun, but this is a problem and there's no solution for it.
Yeah, even that before, Teddy, when they said he was down, I believe, looking in down on the old Las Vegas end of it, renting out a condo to see if he can, get a good lineup.
Documented at the Ogden, and of course, your whole week, so, you read, I'm tuned into the story,
yeah, sure.
Reading everything, but he was at the Ogden, then downtown for Life is Beautiful. He was in Chicago for, what was it? What's the one? Lollapalooza or something. And there was one in Boston as well. Or he didn't go to Chicago. He rented the room in Chicago outside Lollapalooza. So it's something that, in theory, could have happened anywhere.
No, it's just a horrible, horrible situation all the way around. The good part about it, one of the best tweets I actually saw coming out of Las Vegas, Teddy, was somebody asking, saying, hey, look, the best way to support Las Vegas is don't cancel your trips. Come enjoy our city. We'll be back on our feet. We're very resilient. I thought that was very profound because what people tend to do is say, I'm not going back there. But the way to be strength and show support is, it's not. My wife even asked me, like, oh, man, do you want to go back? I said, of course I want to go back to Las Vegas. One nut job in some sort of area that's going to do that to stop me from going to a place that the people are kind out there. I have every single time I go out there, not very many people, Teddy, go out to Las Vegas, come home like, man, I'm never going back out there again. It's a wonderful place to go, man.
Exactly. That's the truth of this town. That's what happened to me. I came here. Oh, this place is cool. I want to come here again. I came here the second time. I'm like, I think I want to live here. You're in your late 20s. Hey, what are we going to do with our lives? Hey, that's, now's the time. The reason that, this town was not, this town didn't exist. World War II, this town is nothing. And now it's 2 million people. A lot of people have made that choice.
Well, in the middle, that's going to be great. And then it's going to culminate, I'm hoping, looking at that game, San Diego State versus UNLV, it would be great if they could sell that place out, show some unity. I saw the helmets Tony Sanchez put out there, just complete class. San Diego State with their program is going to be real classy about it. One of those big events coming back to the city to sort of set it back off and say, you know what, Las Vegas, we're still here and we're going to be here for a long time to come. So it should be pretty cool to watch Saturday night.
Sure. And it's good to see the Rebel program get a little love. And I don't think it's a situation like, and post 9/11, everything freaking stopped. You remember? Like life stopped that week. All we did was watch TV. It wasn't like that in Vegas this week. It was like people moved, people functioned. You saw it was a functional town. So to think that, the Rebels may come out flat. It has been a lot going on this week, but maybe they come out with an inspired showing, and San Diego State's put together a bunch of good performances in a row. Hard to duplicate that every week.
Yeah, no, and again,
so it's the kind of game that I wouldn't be surprised if the Aztecs kill them, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Rebels won straight up. It's a tough one. If I'm playing UNLV, I'll put at least half the wager on the money line.
Yeah, no, looking at it, what is the line sitting around like double? I think it's just above double digits, 10.5.
Yeah, right there, 9.5, 10.5.
Really poor real poor San Jose State team. They waxed them up and down the football field. So it was a nice win last week, and I think there'll be a game effort this week going against San Diego State. It'll be interesting, but I hope good vibes.
It's hard to gauge the emotions, Donnie. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's so hard to. There are times where it's real obvious. Remember the Aaron Brooks night in?
Yes.
Sorry. You remember the Aaron Brooks night at the Superdome after
when they reopened after Katrina? Yep.
Yeah, and it was, like the Saints. There was no freaking way the Saints were losing that game. It was just jacked up as a team.
Blocks the punt, and it was on. It was on.
Yeah, it was on. It was on from the. There are occasionally spots like that, but sometimes, especially with the younger kid, with colleges, there are times you think, all right, this is the spot to shine. And the effort's just a little bit flat. Or sometimes like the old fade. There's a mantra: you're supposed to fade the team when they get their rings. Fade them the night they get their rings because they're still reliving last year. And it was a long time. It was a profitable strategy. It really was. But there are other times that for whatever reason the team doesn't lay. Golden State. I'm pretty sure Golden State covered last year when they got the rings. They freaking were
even looking at
really
the
good.
big tragedy with down in Houston opening up first game. J.J. Watt coming out of the tunnel. Oh my God, Jacksonville's here. We'll blow them out. Jacksonville came away with an easy victory in that game.
Exactly.
Both ways.
But Houston was so disrupted by the hurricane. They were legit. Like everything was disrupted. Whereas that didn't happen in Vegas.
True. No, yeah, we could certainly lean on that there. We'll transition into some football here, folks. If you're just tuning in, welcome into the Closing Line, October 5th. I'll be hosting today, Donnie Rightside, with my partner here, Teddy Covers. I mean, no one.
Hang on, they're asking me about the conspiracy theories.
Go ahead. Yes, what are you hearing on the ground out there? That's what we want to know.
I don't believe any of the conspiracy theories, not one. I think they're full of shit. And I think what you see on the news, that the news reporters who were there 5 minutes after it happens are on it. And the 86 videos that are showing you exactly what happened are on it. And the false flag stuff is fucking bullshit. I'm not buying it. Don't sell that to me.
Maybe you could have got away with a false flag.
Don't know that it's nonsense.
Before, like all the technological stuff, but with Twitter and the internet and everybody has camera phones, pretty hard to pull.
Too many people have to know something. There's too many cameras. It can't happen in 2 seconds. I'm not saying that a false flag situation can't ever happen anywhere in any spot. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it didn't happen in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay on Sunday night. No freaking way. That's my 2 cents. Sorry.
No,
is that a soapbox? Okay. Were there some other questions?
yeah, most of them.
Woo, I got fired up there for a minute.
Yeah. No, we had some good participation last week with NCAA football. We'll do it as well. What do you want to talk about, Teddy?
Ron, more than one shooter. They're out there talking about their Ron. You live 2 minutes from Mandalay Bay. Hey, maybe you know. Hey, Matthias, hi from Berlin. Okay, Ron, what do you got, Ron? Because I'm interested in you. Because you're telling me you live 2 minutes from Mandalay and you're a gun guy. And you know it. I mean, I'm interesting. In what you have to say. I know people that were there too, and I heard the stories. There's a shooter on the ground. I heard that, but I have no evidence for it. And it's easy for there to be misinformation when there's chaos going on. Yeah. I heard there's a guy in MGM that I know and trust. It's like, no, there is a shooter here, and there wasn't. What there was bloody people running from all over the place. Mm-hmm. So, that's my 2 cents. But I'm interested in your take. You live 2 minutes away. You tell me. The old guy was a patsy. They're covering up the truth. What I'm interested in seeing is the advantage. So are you worried about being a gambler now? Okay. What's my income? What do I write on my tax return? Yeah. I'm a professional gambler, so I got to worry about increased scrutiny. You're already under the worry of that kind of fear. Now all the advantage players, watch out for the video poker players, that's the crew I run with. There's a bunch of guys that freaking do advantage play. A lot of video poker is a big piece of that.
I'm going to say the check boxes. You're a gambler. They know you legally registered guns now. And you never know where that ends up.
All right. High roller. What else we got? Sorry, I'm getting all rowdy. You're right. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ron. I said you're right, and it's hard to believe anything. You don't know. That's the whole thing, is that I know. I love you, Teddy. That's sweet. Mm-hmm. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Sleeping? I'm not sleeping. What are you talking about, B. Simpson? All right. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about some games. I can get caught in this forever. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the comment.
Yeah, no, hey, man, we wanted to get because we haven't heard that perspective there. Well, everybody was checking out. And then as soon as it happened, that's where you go to. Who's on the ground? Who lives in Las Vegas? Who's like, dude, I was just on the Strip yesterday. That's real stuff that hits home.
So one of the things that's cool about it is that, again, it's been an effed up week, where I'm not in my normal routine, but man, everybody coming out of the woodwork you know, coming out of the woodwork. Hey, Teddy, just checking in. I know you're fine. You know, but people you haven't heard from in years, and that's nice. You know, good to hear from people. You know, a lot of old friends and relatives just checking in, making sure all, you know. You know, it's not like I'm not going anywhere on a Sunday night, dude. You know, I'm in my office on Sunday nights. Yeah. It was just, you know, whatever. It's good to do that.
No, it is. It's definitely good. So hopefully, you know,
it smells fishy, Slew. I know, but I don't know there's guys. I know it smells bad. It does, but it happened too quick. I saw the video minutes after. You know,
I think all the conspiracy theories coming out too, Teddy, is that we don't have a definitive answer, like what the guy was doing, what was going through his head.
That's the whole thing.
No manifesto. So now you have everybody with the conspiracy theories that has time to build up and think about what happened and try to poke holes in the story, because a lot of the times we know within 24 hours motive. Well, we went on his Facebook page, we went on his Twitter page. He doesn't have any digital imprint out there, being, you know, an older guy, which again, like my father or somebody older, they're not on Facebook or Twitter or doing anything. You got to go do it, you know, back. And they probably don't even have a smartphone, probably a flip phone that they don't even text from. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Sure, he's a retired accountant.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make any sense to anybody. And, I mean, one of the things that makes the narrative about the Islamic terrorist so popular is the fact that it's easy. Bang, there's the motive. You know, you hate the way we live. You know, which is true, you know, or you want to bring us down, whatever it is, you know, but you hate us is the motive. This motive is as murky as hell, and it doesn't make any sense to anyone. So that ensures that there's going to be all kinds of theories about it. And I'll tell you what, there's never going to be, this isn't Ted Kaczynski and there's going to be a manifesto, you know, it's not, it's in the Unabomber, and there's not going to be anything. We're all going to be wondering forever, or whatever. Not like we're going to think about every day for the, you know, what happened, you know, what was it? You know, but I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a definitive answer to that question.
And Ron Fig also says, don't live in fear either. I only fear bad beats and backdoor covers like the Monday night football game.
That's how the win. That's the goal of a terrorist act, is to make you fear. Yeah. You can't live your life in fear. We've already changed so much about our character as a country in reaction to this. And it's truth. There is some price to be paid for living in a free country. You know, 7 people my wife knew, dude. You know, my kid's aunt on the Little League team. It's just effed up. That's a big price to pay.
No, it certainly is. Avi Ham in the chat box, Teddy. Not too happy with you right there. So we'll remove
what do we got?
Chat box.
F me, what'd I do?
I don't know, man. There's some crazy people out there.
It's okay. I can handle it. ISIS is fake. Teddy, remember the postal worker. Why did ISIS claim them? They claim everybody. The main thing is that's the truth, Ron. We are all in this together. You know, I won't live in fear. I only fear bad beats and backdoor covers, unless you're rooting for the backdoor cover.
Exactly. You had a couple of those weird ones. I saw the replay of I believe it was the Coastal Carolina game. Almost a similar situation to the Washington Redskins game. Just one of those fluke plays, which, man, when they
last play of the game, and it landed right in between. You know, nightmare. They were down 2, right?
Yep.
But that wasn't on a kickoff return, right? That was an actual play.
No, it was almost a carbon copy play of the Kansas City Chiefs game. It was almost the same thing. Run around, throw a pass, throw it backwards. Quarterback falls on top of the ball. He doesn't care anymore. Defensive lineman who says, man, I never score a touchdown. Let me pick this ball up instead of falling on it and run it into the end zone.
Was that worse than what was it, 34-28?
The only reason why it wasn't worse is because the over-under and the side was impacted on the Kansas City game. The over-under already was long gone in that one, but it was a 2-point game where I believe the line closed at like 7 in that game, or 7.
I'm talking about the Vandy game where it was 31-24 and he's supposed to take a knee and get the first down and take a knee, and he ran in the end zone.
Yeah, no, there was a little bit more time on the clock for that one. But how many times do we see that, though, Teddy? 4th and 1, where it's either boom or bust. Either you stop them cold at the line of scrimmage.
No, the coach told him you're supposed to take a knee. He said, it wasn't like the play was designed, get the first down and hit the ground. And the kid's like, yeah, whatever, coach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, college kids back. No. I'm going to a party tonight, and I need to score a touchdown here.
All right. So what were they? So they're asking me. Okay, North Carolina, Notre Dame.
Yep.
Let me just go real quick on that. The Tar Heels are a one-way team for me. I made a mistake. I put a big bet on North Carolina 2 weeks ago against Duke.
Yep.
not fully comprehending how injury riddled that team is. It's not just the number of injuries; it's the guys who are hurt. Mm-hmm. It's the leaders on that team. Georgia Tech could have beat them 100-0 last week. So it's a Notre Dame or pass. That's the side of the equation I can only look at there. Although I know the Tar Heels in years past have given the Irish all kinds of problems. No way. This Tar Heels team is different. I don't think there's a team that I have dropped my power rating on more since the start of the season than North Carolina. They're one of the big fallers. Even from where they were 3 weeks ago. Their injury report is nightmarish.
Yeah, I have 19 injuries or more for North Carolina, and many of them big-time starters, offensive line, Austin Proehl. So that is a laundry list going up. The only thing interesting about Notre Dame here, Teddy, is how do you factor in, maybe Winbush not going in this game as a quarterback, which, we'll see. But Chaz Surratt on the opposite side, he doesn't give me much. I mean, I looked at that. I watched that Duke North Carolina game. I thought he was terrible in that football game. Now they're even more banged up. I don't know where the points are going to come from North Carolina in this one.
No, I think the Fighting Irish are going to be fine without Winbush if he doesn't play. And that is the best man now. That's not official yet that he's in or out. It's still question marks on that. Because the strength of that Notre Dame offense isn't the quarterback or the skill position guys, it's the offensive line. That is a dominant offensive line. We've seen them take over games more than once already this year, where they got 4 seniors and a junior, NFL talent.
Yeah.
So when you have time, you have a running game, and your backup quarterback can come in and do okay. When you don't, your backup quarterback comes in and looks like Blake Bortles.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that football game. What do we got? Over under that one, 61-60 across the board, 59.5 at BetOnline. So even if you're looking at from a totals perspective, I'm not really big on that North Carolina offense. Then you're going to have a little bit of a banged-up quarterback if he does play. It's his foot. So even if he does play, probably not going to be 100%, maybe not as fleet of foot as he typically is on that. But looks like 82% of the spread wagers I'm following here. So a heavy, heavy dose of Notre Dame getting bet into. Opened up, though, Teddy, around 17, 16.5. Now sitting right around that 2-touchdown mark, 14.5 right now.
I don't worry that much about the college football public versus, in the NFL, pros versus Joes, you want to pay attention. In college football, I'm much more interested in getting the best of the number than I am in whether the Joes like them or the pros like them. The Joes are going to win some and lose some every Saturday. The pros are going to win some and lose some every Saturday. It's just, it's not, for the pros, it's a numbers game. And I am wary of the public underdog. The big public underdog is not one that I'm necessarily favored with. But like the consensus numbers for college football, I really don't pay them much heed. Unless it's one of these, when it's 98% and, you can pay attention. But even then, I've seen those cover, everybody's right. Was everybody right last week about Tennessee, Georgia? You know what I mean? Everybody was freaking right.
Yep.
That's just the way it is sometimes in college football.
Even last night, if you looked at the game, I don't know how much money was actually wagered, how many tickets were on that, but I couldn't find anybody on Georgia Southern last night, and everybody was loading up the opposite side, and it won easily. Spread wise. Yeah,
right side, right, wire to wire job. And it was all Arkansas State money, and it was all that. They're asking about the games tonight. Asking about Louisville and NC State. I don't have a dime on the game. It's a really hard game, dude. Yeah. Louisville was 44-0 at halftime last year. Louisville ran all the way through this freaking team. And you look at those receivers, they're like Oklahoma State. They got like 4 guys. They got 4 sweet wideouts, and they go 4 wide on every play. And when you have 4 talented wideouts, you can't shadow Lamar Jackson with the safety. So Lamar Jackson's got room to run. It's a really hard offense to stop. And Clemson was able to do it because they could blow up the line of scrimmage on every play. Now, in theory, this NC State's defense is supposed to be a lot better than the one that was down 44-0 at halftime last year. In theory, all the guys that the front 6, they play that weird 4-2-5 defense.
Yes. Yeah.
And the front 6, all 6 of them are returning senior starters who were in that game last year. So they remember it. They certainly have it circled. It's all of that for NC State. Maybe they can do it. But on the other hand, what if Florida State just sucks? And all this love for NC State is just Florida State sucking. You know?
Yeah, just finally getting over that hump looking at it. Lumber peaked about maybe 4.5 at some spots a little bit earlier in the week. Me and Jeff talked about it on the right side of campus. It's not a great play, but when it peaked at 4, I said, NC State's probably going to be a decent play here as an underdog at home, looking for a little bit of a revenge. So I would lay it on a little bit NC State. I like the way their program has responded here this year. Over under in this one, Teddy. How about 67, 66.5 in this one? Any thoughts on that?
No. I didn't play. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on the total at all. It's not. My gut and my initial gut reaction was I like these two quarterbacks, and in a gut reaction in college football, if I like two quarterbacks, I want over, and if I don't like two quarterbacks, I want under. That's basic as it gets in college football. And you know what? Sometimes basic strategy works. So I like these two quarterbacks, but I also like both these defensive lines. And it's not necessarily going to be. It could easily be. I wouldn't be shocked if it's where the loser scores in the 20s, and I wouldn't be shocked if the loser scores in the 30s. You know what I mean? So, no, I would agree with you there. How about the NFL game tonight, Teddy? New England, Tampa Bay here. Got some late breaking information within the past hour. Gronkowski's downgraded to doubtful, and most people calling him out for this football game. Line was up around 5.5 most of the week, Teddy, but it looks like it's coming down here 4.5, depending on what you're getting it at. 54.5, down from about 56 where it was early in the week. I'm a big proponent of betting on home teams. I like Tampa Bay in the spot. I liked them even before the Gronkowski injury, taking the 5.5 and leaning a little bit here on the under 56.5, which was a couple days ago, but that has since come lower. It's just a lot of points on a Thursday night football game. I know both of these defenses are banged up, hurt, haven't played well yet, but 56 points is a lot in the NFL, Teddy. Yeah, it's a lot for a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I didn't make either one of those bets. I didn't touch the game. The only bet that I made for today was the Astros. And I bet them early. That line really got steamed up. So far so good with Houston. But it's okay, what do we got? So everyone's telling me how awful the Patriots defense is, right? Mm-hmm. And let me just I got it there. Look, the Mark Lawrence playbook. Mm-hmm. Good reference for because I have to move my keyboard to get the mic over here. So, or otherwise I got to reach over, and that looks weird when I'm talking. So it's better to have this to reference a schedule. What my whole point is that the Patriots have played some freaking good teams. Kansas City has the best yards per play in the NFL this year. Their offense has proven not to be a joke. New Orleans, Drew Brees, their offense is pretty freaking good. Houston, now you look at Houston's aggregate stats and you go, that offense stinks. You look at Houston's stats with the 2 games where Deshaun Watson was prepared to be the starter.
Yeah. And
they scored, 33 in one and 54 in the other. So maybe their offense doesn't stinks. And they played Cam Newton when Cam Newton was so ready for a breakout. We didn't necessarily think it was coming, but Cam Newton, the guy won the MVP. Okay. They played some pretty good offenses whose stats may not reflect that. I remember,
they're getting a good one tonight, though, Teddy.
2014. What was the year they went to Kansas City and got blown out 41-14 on Monday Night Football?
2 years ago, I believe it was. 2 years ago.
And they were home dogs to Cincinnati the next week.
Yeah.
That's how far the market had devalued that defense. They won every game the rest of the way until week 17, and then won all 3 playoff games, including the winner over the Seahawks. So, and when you talk about Bill Belichick off a loss, there are some track records I do not step in front of, and that is one of them. That is a legitimate track record. It is proven. It is over time. It has a large enough sample size. And you look at Tampa Bay, and you say this defense is worse than New England's. It flat out is. Eli Manning was under pressure from everybody. Every time he dropped back to pass the first 3 weeks. He played in Tampa last week. Did they lay a finger on him? Manning had a clean pocket. I'll tell you that most of the game. I think he might have had no sacks, 1 pick, or they had one big play on defense, 1 sack and interception combined. I forget which it was. Tampa's defense is a shell of what it was, dude. They're all banged up. So have fun with your Bucks. I don't want them. But on the other hand,
you got to point out in that as I get, Bill Belichick bouncing back off losses, but probably most of those were coming, bouncing back, playing a bad Jets team, a bad Buffalo team. I think he's in a tough spot. I mean, going on the road on Thursday night is going to be a tough one automatically. And he let Cam Newton, or I should say the team at home, let Cam Newton throw for over 300 yards with a bad set of wideouts and no tight end in that. He's going to get a full barrage tonight, maybe the best wideout in football. Mike Evans up there with, I mean, obviously Julio Jones, I think, is the best, but he's right up there. Deshaun Jackson, a great compliment. Fast tight end over the middle, getting your running back for this game.
Hello, Donnie right side. Are you listening to yourself talk? You just told me 2 minutes ago you like the under. How the frick are you betting the under in this game?
Well, the under's not 30.
How are you betting? You just told me 18 playmakers for Tampa Bay. We got Tom Brady and his playmakers on the other side, and you love the under in this game. It doesn't make sense. Bang, veto.
How about like 20?
Pass the game. You're allowed to pass. You're allowed to say, I don't know what to do with the total. I pass. You're giving me all these big choices, all these guys who are making plays for Tampa. Why don't you pass the total? Just pass. Just pass. Say the pay.
Why would I pass the total on that? I mean, they're in a bit. The New England's in a terrible spot in this football game.
Okay.
I mean, look at last week. The Giants don't have a great team. That ended up at 48 points. The Minnesota game, Tampa Bay, 34-17. Tampa Bay hasn't gone over the total of 56 yet.
The Giants game probably should have had 60. Okay. You know, the kickers alone, well, it would have had 60 if the kickers made their kicks. If they scored touchdowns, they would have had 70.
You can say that about every single football game. You're going to miss kicks or fumbles.
Every time they had 3 missed field goals and a missed extra point in that game, or at least, or more than that. And the missed point conversion too. There was 12 points missed on non-kicks. Don't tell me I had the over in that game. I had to sweat out a game that should have been an easy winner.
I had the winner on the Giants in that one. That was the right play.
We both cashed. High five.
Yeah, there you go. No, but in this Giants game, though, last week, if you look at it, Tampa Bay, I mean, they didn't play too bad on defense, 91 yards on the ground, 288 through the air. There was a clean pocket, but that's all about Bob McAdoo or Ben McAdoo, whatever you want to call the guy's a head coach who won't be there.
I've done that too.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that all the time. But, I mean, clean pocket, they're getting the ball out quick. I didn't expect many sacks in that football game out of Tampa Bay because if you watch the Eagles game the game before, where that line was a wreck the first 2 games of the season, the Eagles barely laid a finger on Eli Manning. They have a great pass rush. So if they're going to be getting it out quickly tonight, the one thing I like about Tampa Bay is that front seven for New England is not going to be able to get home tonight versus Jameis Winston. He's going to have a clean pocket for most of the night. And again, I'm not even
why are you talking about it under?
Because it's 56.5.
Okay, forget the total, forget the number for a minute and think about the concept. All right.
It's a Thursday night football game.
Is the Bucs
banged up out there? Both Bucs don't have very many times.
Please, just let me help you. Help me help you.
Now hold on. Wait. From a Vegas perspective, hold on. From a Vegas perspective, you tell me all the time it's about the number. I got 56.5. The number's at 54. Did I get the number? And is that what
absolutely?
Absolutely. There you go. That's a winner, right?
You've done well for yourself in that regard. This is my only question. And I've got so many of them. Is the Bucs offense buy or sell?
It's a buy for me, yes.
Is the Patriots defense buy or sell?
It's a sell for me.
Is the New England Patriots offense buy or sell?
It's a buy for me.
Is the Bucs defense buy or sell?
It's probably going to be a sell in this part.
Okay, and you're betting the under. That's all I'm saying.
Because of the number.
It's all about the number.
Now, hold on, Teddy. If this line was 78.5 and I sold on that, would we still be taking the over because it's an over? That's what you're telling me, right? It doesn't matter what the over-under number is. You should be taking the over.
This is all I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I don't know how I would not be surprised this game goes over. I would not be surprised this game goes under. You got the best of the number, and that's the key. Yes. Okay. As far as a positive expectation wager, from that regard, you are in positive expectation territory. However, you and I are both of the ilk that it's not just math. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
I don't just bet the math. There are guys that just bet the math and they grind out the math, and they can do that. We are both people that use handicapping as a piece of the equation. And when the math says one thing and the handicapping says another thing, you know what I do most of the time? I pass the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying I rode all the way to the hill with it, but when I see a number on a Thursday night,
you're allowed to have a bet, dude. It's a fun discussion. I enjoyed it. Let's talk about the Yankees. We had a question about the Yankees. Or should I say the Indians? Let's call them the Indians. That game, we're over the total now.
Over. Just take it over again, Teddy, right?
You're not, I wouldn't talk you out of it. I really wouldn't.
No, I lied. I was on the under in the Yankees game, in the wild card game. Ate a bad turkey sandwich, so to speak, in that game. Next game, I went over. Today, I went over again, and I'm just going to lean on the over again tonight, just the way looks like it's playing out. And again, Gray Bauer, it's not like you have two superior aces going back and forth and two lineups that can hit. I know the bullpens are good, but the way they're going right now, it's 8.5. I'll take the over in that one as well.
This is what we've seen so far so clearly. The veteran starters are fine, and the guys who are making their first postseason starts are shaky. You trust Sonny Gray? No. Bauer's been good. But there's one difference between Yankees, Indians compared to any other series when it comes to totals. And it's important to note. We're talking about the best bullpen in baseball and the second best bullpen in baseball, number 1 and number 2, in every stat, in ERA, in runs saved, in WAR, all the advanced metrics, the basic metrics. These are the 2 best bullpens. So when it comes down to late inning runs, piling it on, chipping a 2-2 game over a 7.5 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I don't see a lot of that in this series, and that is definitely a concern for me. But in general, right now, I have no argument with betting overs in MLB here in the postseason. I think the numbers are a little bit lower, perhaps, than they should, certainly in some of the other series. But the Yankees-Indians is not one that I'm thrilled about, just because those bullpens slam the frickin' door shut. They've done it all year.
Teddy, by the way, quick question on this game with Cleveland. Me and Jeff had a argument, not an argument earlier. We were actually in agreement. We're trying to argue with the Indians. Why are they sending Bauer out here game 1 as opposed to one of their other power arms here?
Everybody's asking the same question, right? On Sportsbit today, we talked about it. We had a great quote from Terry Francona and explained exactly why he did it. And when me and Paulie were talking about it on Sportsbit, Paulie said, this doesn't make any freaking sense. He's an idiot. Why is he doing it? But the quote from Francona was basically, if reading between the lines, it felt like basically that's what Kluber wanted. Kluber wanted to go he wanted to go on normal rest in game 2. That's what it sounded like to me. And the way that Francona spun it was, well, this because it was options with Kluber. We can pitch him in game 5, which apparently they could have done anyway because game 5 is until next Wednesday. Yada, yada. So, but that's the way it's being spun, is that Kluber wanted to go on normal rest.
No, yeah, it's just baffling to me in the playoffs. I want my top gun going game 1 to get that 1-0 lead, especially being only a 5-game series, not a 7. Where if you did go down 0-1, it's already time to panic in game 2, and especially if you lose a home game in game 1. I know you're going to come back with your aces, you're going to feel strong, but being down 0-1 and losing home field advantage right off the bat, always a tough one for me, which is kind of interesting.
Playoff veteran team, they were there last year. They know all the ins and outs of bouncing back in the postseason. Cleveland would respond better to that than perhaps some other teams would.
In the chat box here, Chris Lomas is saying, Boise, BYU. Thank you, fellas. So it looks like he wants to go 309, 310 tomorrow night. A Boise State BYU special here. Opened up, it looks like about 9 at Pinnacle, 7.5 at Chris. Sitting about 7.5 across the board, Teddy. 47 across the board. Interesting one. Both of these teams, last time we saw them, got shattered. For the most part, BYU, Teddy, has been shattered this year. Does Boise State bounce back? Are they good enough to lay more than 7 points on the road here at BYU?
Not just BYU's quarterback, not just Mangum's out. Now the backup's out too.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, they got roasted versus Utah State last time they were out. But again, looking at their schedule, it's a tougher schedule that they played, but they haven't handled it very well.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the state of the BYU program is in trouble. Mm-hmm. They went independent. What happens in independent is that you get good games in September. You get all the good games you want in September. Everyone wants a good non-conference game. And BYU plays this brutal schedule right out of the gate every year. And then when it gets to October, November, you look at it, they're playing UMass. I mean, the schedule it's ridiculous. It goes from being brutal like 5-6 weeks in a row and then nothing very little the rest of the way. But I'm not excited about laying points with Boise. I don't want BYU. It's not just the quarterback. Okay, not just the fact that they have no quarterback. The offensive line hasn't played well. The secondary has. The skill position. I mean, they have none of their receivers are creating any separation against anybody. Their receivers are as weak as receivers get. So under, it might be the way that'll look here. That would be my top recommendation in that game. Nothing more fun than sitting around on a Friday night going, come on, field goal, come on, punt. Yeah, just run it up the gut. But that might be the bet to make in this one.
We got an NFL game and an NCAA game here. Ace Farmer is saying, what do you think, guys, about the Panthers-Lions game on Sunday? Line looks like it's actually dipped down a little bit, Teddy. That was hovering about 3 in that range all week long. Then today, just getting some updated numbers here, -2.5, -2. Looks like across the board, Bovada's always going to punch out there a 3, but it looks like that money, I don't know, pouring in from either side, forcing that number down under 3 now. What about some thoughts on that game, Teddy?
No, that line moved before today, didn't it? I'm sure it did.
I think the first time I saw a 2, I believe, is today.
No, there was 2.5 at Penny as early as Tuesday, and the broader market moved yesterday to 2.5. I talked with Matthew Holt earlier today from CG Technology. He's certainly an SBR contributor.
Yep, sure.
He said that they were one of their top 3 NFL liabilities was Carolina this week. The wise guys were all over the Panthers in early week, and I'll tell you why. They were all over Carolina. This is why. Detroit +9, Carolina -5. That's it. Turnover differential. That's what it's all about. The Lions are +9. They've been +3 in 3 different games. The markets don't think that's sustainable. They don't think Detroit is built to be a +9 type of team. Carolina, again, last week we saw the offense come alive. We know that defense is capable of creating some turnovers, et cetera, et cetera. They don't look at Carolina as a negative turnover differential team. So they expect both to revert to the mean, which in theory means Carolina is supposed to win the turnover battle in this ballgame. That's what the mentality of the bettors and big bettors that took this price for the Panthers were doing. They said what they and note the market reaction. The market reaction wasn't Patriots defense horrific. Those with the money, the big money, have said not Patriots defense horrific. They've said Panthers offense fixed. We'll see. I don't know if Detroit's going to be creating turnovers the way they have, but that's why the money's come on Carolina so far.
Next up in a college game, somebody asking, is Temple going to be able to get right versus ECU? I watched the ECU game last week versus USF, sat on the over 75 in that one. Didn't even get a good number, closed around 71, but still went over easily. One would think if you're going to get right here, Teddy, as Temple on offense, even though I don't like their offense one bit, this is probably the game to do it. ECU, I mean, I don't know if they play with 7 guys on defense, it looks like. It's certainly the way they defend. But can Temple actually score some points here? And they're not even that big of a favorite. I believe 2.5 last time I checked on that game. ECU could be live in this one. But if Temple's ever going to come alive, Teddy, can they please get some scoring or points in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's in my mind, it's a very difficult game for me to handicap.
Yeah.
Because I don't even okay, so they came back, they were down 20-0 against Houston last week and came back and made a game of it. I was watching that one. I wasn't like a hawk, but I was. Well, yes, that's the advantage of having multiple TVs. Is you get to keep your eye on a bunch of games, and it felt like there was like about 5 different calls from the refs that all went in Temple's favor in that game. That was the only reason they were in it. That was the only time the offense was moving the football was if the defense got a penalty. I know East Carolina hasn't stopped anyone. Temple hasn't moved on anyone.
That's
they moved the football. Exactly. So who wins that battle? I don't know. I don't know if Temple's offense is capable of moving the football against a bad defense. I haven't seen them move the football anybody yet. So who can score touchdowns? Who's got playmakers? East Carolina's got playmakers. Temple doesn't.
Temple's got East Carolina, Cirque back in there. He throws the football all over the place. Got 3 decent wide receivers. Also in that Temple game is Ed Oliver got knocked out of that game for Houston, the really good defensive tackle, and they still had problems moving the football. I think they even had the ball late with a chance to either tie the football game up at one point, weren't able to do so. But yeah, this is a completely different regime coming in here, and it really shows from what Temple was used to doing the past 3-4 years under Matt Rule.
So yeah, we got there's like people that I haven't heard from before that I'm excited to answer some questions.
Yeah, let's go right down. What do they got?
Yeah, and then of course that's I'm about to do it, and I just lost it.
Steelers laying 8.5 over
about 5 minutes left.
Anthony Tony.
Where'd it go? Lions, Temple, ECU. Oh, Rich Banks was asking me something. I like Rich Banks. Good guy.
Really you can easily read the capital letters in there, Teddy. That's why.
Sorry, guys. Oh well. I'm bummed. La Monroe versus Texas State. Thanks. I got nothing on that game. Sorry. Is this dead air? This is just the worst thing for anything. Don't wait for me, dude. Ask me something else. I'm looking for something.
Steelers laying 8.5 over Jacksonville.
That's the one I was looking for.
How about your opinion? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, where'd that go? I couldn't remember what it was as soon as you said it. Who was that? I haven't seen him type before.
The great Sixer Anthony Tony asking questions for you.
Right, I know Anthony Tony. Yeah, I like the name. So it's a fascinating game. All right. There's two cases to be made here in this game. This is the first case. All right. Pittsburgh, week 1, the offense stinks because they didn't play the down together in preseason. Week 2, they got Minnesota, elite defense. Week 3, they got Chicago on grass, just a sluggish game. It just didn't work to come together. Week 4, you got Baltimore, another elite defense. And even against Baltimore, it starts to come together for the first time. Le'Veon Bell is able to run the football. Now they're coming home, and this explosive offense is just ready to unload on someone. And this is Pittsburgh's get well game. Jacksonville gets behind 2 touchdowns. Guess what? Leonard Fournette's out of the mix. Now you got Blake Bortles trying to play it from behind, and it's 38-3 at halftime, or whatever. There's your Steelers case. Your Jaguars case. Maybe Pittsburgh's not that good, Maybe Pittsburgh's locker room issues are very real. And maybe that Jaguars defense that, again, they gave up the 2 long runs last week to the Jets. One of them was just a bet, a guy took a bet. One guy took a wrong angle, and the other one was a fluky play, But it's a Jags defense that's been really good against the pass all year. And, maybe, and if that's the case, if I'm taking the Jags, I'm probably not taking them plus the points. I'm probably taking at least a piece of that wager on the money line.
Teddy, that's funny you said that. Me and Jeff on the right side of campus today said the same exact thing. Like, if Pittsburgh's going to win this football game, they're not going to win this by 3. They're going to win this football game by double digits. The one angle here, if you're taking a look at, Teddy, tell me how much you want to weigh in on this. Look at Pittsburgh. Do we protest? Do we not protest? You had the fracture the week before. Then they come out, obviously, in that game, lose to the Bears. But you play a game versus your interdivision rival there, Baltimore. You have a pretty good game when you watch it from start to finish. They really dominated that football game. But then you have the little commotion on the sideline where Antonio Brown's not happy. He's not happy with Todd Haley. He wants the football every single play. Maybe both of those teams or both of those, fractures have come to a head in the locker room. They situate it. They say, you know what? Why don't we go out? Let's play some football this week. All our dirty laundry's out there already. Let's play some ball. Do you factor that in any way there, Teddy?
If there's a clear handicap to it, I do. If you're getting dicey information based on conjecture, I don't. You hear about fractured locker rooms. They do happen in sports. And there's money to be made at times betting against a fractured locker room. No question. There's one I've heard of in the NFL that I've been betting against, and a second one that I'm starting to, but I will not give those out yet. I just ask me in a week or two. I don't mean to be rude, but I can't give everything out. But there are teams that situations are really bad. I don't know that's the case in Pittsburgh. It doesn't necessarily feel that way. How many times have we heard this about the locker room, the rumors about their locker room in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy don't like each other, and then the Packers reel off 7 straight wins, and everything's fine. How many times have we heard of rumors of strife in the Steelers locker room before? Many. Is it real? Is it possible they're not going to come together? Yeah, sure. But again, it's the kind of game where you can make you can make a case for either side. But I agree with the assessment completely. Blowout or upset. It's not the Steelers will also be a popular teaser play this week, and they have the potential to be a teaser buster. In my concern, they fit in a basic strategy, but it's not one of the teasers. In my mind, that's a higher variance teaser play than I would normally like to be involved with in a game that I think the underdog does have a shot to win outright, and the Steelers have a shot to win by 3 touchdowns or more.
No, I hear you on that one. Somebody's asking a question there. Is the Minnesota line look light? I don't even have a lineup on my odds board for Minnesota and Chicago, I guess, until they get the quarterback situation squared up to see who's playing. So I would like to help you out with them. Do you have any odds on that, Ted?
There's no line there at all. Or is he talking about the Gophers and the Boilermakers?
Maybe he's talking about that one. Yeah, I just thought he was talking about NFL on that one. He might be talking about the you know what? What would he be talking about in that Minnesota line?
But the answer is yes, it's light. If it's
no, he actually said what? Yes, does the Vikings line look short? Yeah, looks
proven otherwise. Period. End of handicap. You have the team. If you're viewing this as a market-based activity, and you have a team that has covered the point spread every week, and they're still -4. You're not -40. Or even -14, -4. When you find teams like that, they're one-way handicaps. Either you bet Purdue or you don't play the game. And similar with another, like a Temple that hasn't covered us. They covered last week in a ref-aided loss. Now they got to win the game in order to cover. That's not one that I'm interested in. What do we got? A couple more minutes here?
Yeah, got a couple of Teddy. I actually want to talk with you here. One of the bigger games of the weekend, not since 2009 has Miami upset, or I should say beat Florida State, but they're coming in here as a favorite now, -3. It looks like pretty much across the board here. It almost seems to me like a do or die for Miami. If this is the spot you're going to get Florida State, you better beat them. But then again, you see that home dog +3 up there. I know Miami's a good football team. Haven't really been tested yet. Nice win on the road versus Duke. Duke's a competent football team. Don't really know what I'm getting yet out of Florida State. A very young offense. Hasn't looked to put it all together. It's actually a nice win to me, beating Wake Forest on the road. How do you see this matchup here on Saturday afternoon, 3:30 Eastern?
Did you watch the Florida State Wake game?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Florida State got their ass kicked in.
They should have lost the football game.
They won that game because Wake made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And because they have they have a handful of superior guys who can get quick strike touchdowns. But they had 17 tackles for loss. You got a Frosh QB who's not supposed to be in the lineup, and an offensive line that's not doing a good job protecting him, and that's a bad combination against Miami. The wise guys, this line opened, and the wise guys said, Hurricanes, 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 Hurricanes. I don't disagree with that at all. That's the only way. Again, I haven't seen, as Florida State covered a number. Nope.
No, I don't think they have. No, 7.5 last week.
Are you convinced that the markets have? Do you think they're within 3 points of Miami right now? I'm
a Miami fan. That's the problem here in this one. That's why I like to abstain on this, because Jeff talking about on the right side of campus, he loves Miami in this situation. I'm more of a take back and save, because I rip on Jimbo Fisher all the time. How good a coach he is, sure. I mean, the guy's got national championship, but that was under Jameis Winston, Dalvin Cook bailing him out. Now they're no longer here, a little bit behind the sticks as opposed to in front of the sticks, so to speak. I don't think Florida State this year is a very good football team, but until I can see Miami go out there and go to Tallahassee, not the easiest place to play, and pull out a victory there and be favored in this one, Teddy.
So the funny thing is that when you look back in retrospect, remember when they ran Phil Fulmer out of Tennessee?
Yes, I do. Sure.
And Phil Fulmer he was a good recruiter. He was not a great football coach. Right, he wasn't. Phil Fulmer won a national title with and he did it with
T. Martin. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So the fact that someone's got a ring doesn't necessarily impress me. That's all I'm going to say.
Jimbo could have had the escape clause out there to LSU over the past 2 years, decided not to do it. So we'll see where they factor out. But again, no harm, no foul. I'm rooting for the Miami Hurricanes in this one. Let's see if we have a couple more we can hit real quick, too.
I'm not convinced Florida State is priced correctly. The markets haven't priced them correctly yet, And from watching the two teams visually, Miami's better in the trenches, and that matters, But obviously, we're talking about laying 3 on the road. If you wanted Miami, you probably should have gotten them on some, or gotten them early. The best number's gone, and the one thing you'll never see a pro do. I mean, literally, never. You'll never see a pro come in and take a look at a game. Oh, I missed this number. Well, I'll bet it now at -3. No.
One other game asked out here, Teddy, 345, 346, Wake Forest and Clemson. I know you get that big, juicy number here. Wake Forest had a big game. They got up for it as a home game. Let's finally beat Florida State. Let's take it to them. Ended up losing in, relatively heartbreaking fashion for them. Now you're going to go on the road against a much more physical and skilled Clemson team. But that number's big. I mean, some 22s are now showing up on the board here, over under 47.5. Any help for the people in the chat box on that one, Teddy?
So, and I want to, can I show this to the screen?
Yes.
I'm just looking at the Mark Lawrence book here again. I probably can't do it because it doesn't have the aggregate numbers. But when Alabama was going from mediocre program to the best program in college football. The first year under Saban, they didn't do that great ATS. And then the next, for 3 years, winner every year. You're back in Alabama, won all kinds of different roles. As the market struggled to adjust a team that was power rated as a 5 and make them now a team that should be power rated as a 30, or a 25 or whatever, however high Alabama got, Clemson is Alabama, okay? That program is at Alabama's level, and I haven't said that about any other program since the Alabama became the dominant program in college football, took over from USC. You know, when Pete Carroll was, you know, and all that went down there. Clemson is that now. This is not a team I have any interest in standing in front of. You know, I did it once. I learned my lesson. I'm not doing it again. The program is there. Clemson or pass.
No, they're built for it now. You're right. I mean, they've been in that situation time and time again. The bigger the game, the better it seems like they play. Doesn't matter the opponent. One quick question here.
Well, they had that flat spot against BC where they didn't show up at all. And now they got, well, you know, Wake here. And it says, all right, did they let down here? Maybe. Yeah. You know, maybe they do. It's possible. But Clemson's not a team. They're teams that the teams I'm looking to stand in front of aren't supposed to be the very best team in college football. And yet, Donnie Rightside, I might have been the only person in the world with a ticket on Mississippi last week. I talked myself into that bet.
Save it for posterity, right?
I know if it's, you know, but there's so much, the theory, and then putting it into practice isn't always easy. And sometimes I make, you know, whatever, I make mistakes, and it frustrates the hell out of me, but it happens. I got to go, dude. It's at 4 o'clock.
Here's one quick question before we get out of here. OG,
I got to go. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I got to go.
Okay. See ya.
No, I mean, thank you.
You got it. Have a good night.
No, I thought we're done at 4, so I don't want to be.
I was just wrapping it up. One quick question.
Sign out, but I got you know, I got another minute, but I mean, I don't want to get in the game. I want to do like sign off now.
Yeah, it was quick. It was just saying what was the better play, NC State money line or Buccaneers money line.
What's the better play? Oh, that's a good question. I have no opinion on either game. I don't know.
There you go. Teddy with the I don't know. Thanks for tuning into the closing line October 5th.
I freaked out. I'm like, I got to go, dude. No, I got to go. You're not listening to me. I got to go. You're like, Donnie was so mad right there.
Look at that.
No, your face got red. I saw it.
Hey, yeah, that's what it is. Hey, we'll have the debates at a later time. Teddy Thursdays. We'll be back in time here. Teddy's got to get out of here. We'll get out of here as well. The closing line October 5th, presented by SportsbookReview.com. It's your host tonight, Teddy, or Donnie Rightside, guest host. Teddy covers here also. Join us at a later time on SportsbookReview.com, SBRodds.com. Give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. From all of us at Sportsbook Review, good luck on your wagers, and we hope we helped you beat the closing line tonight, fellas. Take care.